hope you guys enjoyed that stop motion in the beginning of this video. I had a lot of fun creating it, but I think more so I had fun creating these clay figure magnets. So let's start out with the first one here. We have this brown block. This will be the brick block. In the Mario games, if you break these, coins will come out of them, or sometimes nothing will come out of them and they'll just explode into nothing. I have a diagram in the top corner here in case this is a little confusing what I'm doing. This pattern confused me so much while I was creating it, I had to keep referring to this picture. Now we're just adding these last couple lines on the top here, and our brick block is ready to get baked. Now I'm using a Sharpie ultra fine point marker. If you think you could wedge some clay into those cracks or some paint, that would also be a good option. Now let's stick a little magnet on the back. And if you're looking for the materials I'm using, like the magnets and the clay, you can find a link in the description of this video. It will show you everything I'm using in my videos, all my tools and clay and all of those things. Our second block here will be the question mark block. So first we need to cut out a lot of question marks because these blocks have 3 different question marks on them. You don't need the question marks on the back or the top or the bottom because you won't be seeing those anyway. So here we have the question marks going on the yellow blocks. And now our question mark block is ready to get baked. After baking, we can stick another magnet onto the back of it. And now that we're done with those, we can move on to this block, which is the empty item block. After you grab an item out of it, it turns into this. So now, if you're familiar with the Mario games, you should easily be able to guess what I'm making right now. But this is a warp pipe. And while this will take you to secret areas in the game, or sometimes they don't take you anywhere and enemies just pop out of them like the piranha plant and shoot fireballs at you. Now, using some more green clay, let's create the 1-up mushroom. Here I'm using the cap of my X-Acto knife to cut out these perfect circles. A pen cap will do the same thing. Or if you're really good, you can just use a knife. Let's take some tan clay here to make the face of the mushroom, or the stem. Picking up this mushroom in the game will give you an extra life, which it can be very helpful at certain times. We need some black eyes here, and a little bit of a white dot for the inner part of the eye. And well, created the exact same way is this red mushroom. Now again, let's use some green clay, except this time we're going to make the Koopa shell. I tried to create all of the iconic things from Mario, and I think I did pretty well. There's some things obviously I didn't make, more items and such. But the Koopa I thought would be a bit more simple, creating inside of his shell. I was a little confused looking at reference pictures because it always just showed that the hole for the legs is only in the front, which doesn't make much sense because they have front and back legs. Anyway, I'm just going off of the pictures and only add these details into the front of the shell because the back of the shell will be covered in a magnet, so you don't need the extra details on there. Here we have these lines on the bottom, and now on the top here is another sort of confusing pattern. Once you get the hang of it, it gets a little bit easier though. Let's keep this pattern going around the whole shell. Okay, now that we're done with this pattern, let's take a thick worm of clay and start wrapping it around. And our shell will be complete for now. After baking, we'll do the same thing we did with the brick block, where we used a Sharpie and filled in the lines. And now for the star of the show, Mario. First we have this blue clay for the pants and these little tiny shoes. I wanted Mario to be in the sort of jumping up position that he usually is in the Mario games when you jump in the air. And I wanted him to be in a side view because it's like the side-scrolling games. Except somehow along the way he turned out to be a front view and a side view, sort of. Maybe you get what I mean, maybe you don't, I don't know. So on this one, the face is a lot less scary than on the Princess Tower, because let's face it, that was a really scary face. So I think somewhere along the line between those two videos, I got a lot better at faces. Maybe the big mustache covers up a lot of his face and that makes it look a little bit better too. So here we are finishing up the eyes. There's a bunch of different layers on the eyes here. And let's create his giant mustache. Oh yeah, that's looking like Mario. And now we have also a giant nose. So just take a big ball of clay and slap it on there. Now let's create Mario's hat, but first we're going to need to cut out a chunk of his head to make it fit. Sorry, Mario. Okay, now his hat is on his head, and let's create his ears. We can cut this circle in half and it'll make a perfectly shaped ear. Now for the hands. These really, I guess they aren't too detailed. I went the extra mile and added the thumb onto it. Okay, now we have the pocket on the front of his overalls. And yes, I did not create the pattern on Mario's hat, but that was sort of on purpose because it's just so tiny I didn't know if I could create it or not. Here we have the hair. Mario's looking pretty good. Now let's start creating an enemy, well, another enemy after the Koopa. Here we have the Babam. This one is extremely easy to create. We have this twisted clay to make the fuse on the top. And now for the face, we just have two white eyes. Let's take some yellow clay to make the legs and the feet. We don't really have to worry about any details on the back. And now all of our magnets are ready to get baked. After baking, we can do some cutting and gluing to get everything ready. And, well, here we have our marker again to outline this Koopa shell. If you notice here, there's a bullet bill. Well, I created that in the video, but something happened with my camera or with my memory card, and somehow I lost that footage, so I'm sorry about that part. Here we have the magnet on Mario, and these other guys, and the pipe. And that's it, guys. Here it is, our Mario magnets.